And welcome back, everyone, to a birthday Who Would Win, along with a birthday What If coming up. Now, from Joshua Merriweather, you said you and your twin, obviously your twin share a birthday, obviously. I'm gonna take your word for that. I'm gonna, because it's the only time you actually asked for. This is the first time you've asked for a birthday thing, so I don't want to be seeing another birthday request down the line. I've had people do that before, where they've basically said, "Oh, this and this and this." I'm like, all right. I'm going to also assume your twin watches the series because you can't just use other people's birthdays to get requests done. I'm just, you're a relatively new viewer, Joshua. That's why I just want to make that clear. But that being said, I will believe you. I'll believe you the first time. Absolutely. Just just don't want to see it like the next, like in a few months. Like, my dad's birthday's coming up. No, I doubt you and your dad together watch my stuff. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I don't do that. But a twin, like a sibling, that I can believe, so that I'll allow. So first up from Joshua, we have one that he asked a while ago. The first Hokage, Hashirama Senju versus Gold D. Rogers from One Piece. Now, I had to double check on Gold D. Rogers because I thought we actually didn't know a lot about Goldie's abilities. Actually, as it turns out, we know quite a bit about Goldie's abilities. In fact, the only thing we know for a fact in terms of how strong he was is that he actually didn't have a devil fruit. You can imagine if you give him a devil fruit. That's how strong he was. He was the strongest pirate apparently ever, and he didn't have a devil fruit. But he was strong enough to literally take on pretty much anyone in the series. So he also had access to all three or all four. Technically, he had a Supreme King Haki, as well as armament hockey, observation hockey, and perception hockey. No, Supreme King Haki. That's the. Hold on one second. What did he have again? Because I'm like, wait, there's like three main like hockeys. Gold D. Hold on. Gold D. Rogers, One Piece. What exactly did he have again? Yeah, anyway, he was so strong. The only ones who were even roughly speaking in his wheelhouse were Whitebeard at his peak. Individuals like Garp. Individuals, by the way, I know Whitebeard pretty well, but I don't know Garp's like straight abilities very well. Monkey D. Garp. He considered himself Sengoku and then future fleet. He considered Sengoku, and who wielded the power of the Golden Buddha mythical zone as one of the two Marines that were worth his time. He was stronger than Whitebeard. Rox was another person who was in his wheelhouse of strength. In terms of he was also had the ability to hear the voice of all things, which wouldn't matter here. But again, hockey, Supreme King hockey, armament hockey, and observation hockey. I guess that is okay. Point being, one allows you to perceive your surroundings and just kind of almost have like a pseudo ultra instinct, just be able to understand what's coming your way and dodge without looking and all that stuff. The other kind of enforces your will on others, and the other is just the armament hockey is just a black armor type energy that covers weapons or your body to use in combat. So keep in mind this. So what we can do is kind of compare him to other individuals. So we know for a fact he was stronger than Whitebeard, whose paramecium literally could just break worlds apart, break the air, crack everything. It was nuts how strong that devil fruit is. That means he's also stronger than Kaido, who is the strongest creature in the world, and you had to have someone with the god of the sun god devil fruit, model Nika, to beat him. Like, Luffy fought him multiple times and got his ass kicked multiple times. The man turned into a dragon, could lay waste to landscapes with his Bora breath. And so Goldie is stronger than this guy. He's stronger than Blackbeard, who currently wields both the Yami Yami no Mi and the Goro Goro no Mi. Not the Goro Goro, the Gura Gura. I think it's the Quake fruit. He's stronger than Shanks and Big Mom, whose devil fruit is just weird as hell. So he beats every one of these individuals, apparently, without too much difficulty. So yeah, like we don't know if Monkey D. Dragon, for example, is actually as strong as, say, as him, because we haven't seen enough of Monkey D. Dragon yet. But he's still one of the strongest alleged. You know what he is? He's the sole king of the One Piece world. What do I mean by that? He doesn't bind the world together or anything like that, but he's essentially the strongest individual in the world that we only know, like, in passing their abilities, and only seen some things here or there of them. That's what it is, to use another Shonen Bleach reference. The first Hokage, obviously, Hashirama Senju, was considered the god of shinobi. He was insanely strong. Like, whether or not he is truly the strongest Hokage is up for debate after, like, how much of an amp Naruto got. But he is at least in the top 3, minimum. I mean, it's argued we don't know what peak Saratobi looked like. And honestly, Minato's Flying Thunder God is a very broken jutsu in many ways. But yeah, in terms of sheer physicality, able to go his regenerative capabilities was nothing. He could regrow limbs without using, say, healing jutsu. That's how strong his regenerative capabilities was, or were. He was a natural sage. We don't know what type of sage, but he was a natural sage. Oh, no, go away, Mr. B. I left the door open because there's like a fly in here. I left the door open so it would come up, and I don't want anything flying in, so there we go. But yeah, he was a natural sage. Don't know what type. Some people theorize maybe slug. But we just to this day don't know what type of sage he was. But he had access to water, earth, and I want to say fire as well. Hold on, Senju, first Hokage, Hashirama Senju. What would? I mean, he was famed for his wood release, which is earth and water. But I know he has more chakra elements than that under his belt. I assume he also had fire style as well. Actually, he had access to all 5 elements plus yin and yang release. So there you go. So that being said, we only ever really see maybe water, earth, and wood most of the time, and maybe I think once we saw fire as well. Regardless, his wood release could literally create an entire forest on a whim. It was capable, and it had the ability to absorb chakra, particularly tail beast chakra. And his deep forest emergence also created flowers that bloom and basically cause like hallucinogenic effects. But beyond that, it was able to bind the Nine Tails, which is the strongest tail beast, sans the 10 Tails. And even then, it was even able to temporarily bind the 10 Tails for a short time. It was a weakened 10 Tails, mind you, not a full power 10 Tails, but it was able to bind the 10 Tails regardless. Which is a feat unto itself, because that thing is just a giant walking chakra mass of destruction. And is something like the Otsutskis go for, which are alien, not gods, but godlike compared to us. Anyway, so you have that. He has both him and Rogers have decades worth of combat experience under their belt, but Hashirama's probably got the larger amount of experience because he just lived longer. Because the Senju have enhanced lifespans. Senju and Uzumaki both have enhanced lifespans. His chakra reserves were through the roof. He is exceptionally powerful. So, who do I think wins in a fight here? This is tough because if you watch Death Battle for any amount of time, and I don't always agree with Death Battle, but I love Death Battle regardless. That last fight with Kyle and Simone was banger near the end, just awesome. I liked it how it started. I just didn't really love the animation at first, but the animation quickly went all out. I mean, like, yeah, this is what I want. But yeah, they've only done, I think, like One Piece versus Naruto fight, and Sanji beat Lee. But to be fair, it's Lee, it's not like Lee has a huge amount to delve into in terms of power. Now, you're not dealing with 2 of the strongest characters in their verse with these 2. So let's just break it down here. What does Goldie have, or what does Goldie have that could give him an advantage in the fight? Well, first off, his observation haki can allow him to predict and notice any incoming attacks, and therefore avoid the attacks or block them or whatever he needs to do. So that's an automatic right there that he has over Hashirama. Hashirama does have keen battle instinct, so it's not like he'd be a slouch in this either. It's just that with observation haki, it's a more guaranteed ability with Gold D. Okay, so what about then his armament haki? Well, Hashirama is insanely durable, but he could still be hurt, and I think the armament haki, especially for someone who is stronger than Kaido and Whitebeard, could by all accounts hurt and maybe even kill Hashirama. But Hashirama's got wood clones. He's got the Leaf Village jutsus like substitution under his belt. There's nothing to say he couldn't just avoid the like a lethal attack, at least in the beginning to mid stage of the fight. I'll say this: if Goldie wins the fight, and I'm not there yet, if Goldie would win the fight, it wouldn't be in the early game; it'd be in the late game where he just outlasts Hashirama. Okay, then what about the Supreme King haki, where he can just enforce his will on someone else? That, unfortunately, I don't think would work here. See, that's really only works on someone who's just not as strong-willed as you, who's as not simple-minded, but or weak's not mind's not even the right term either, but who just is, I guess, weaker will. I guess that's the best way to put it. You're imparting, you're enforcing your will onto someone else, and no, this is Hashirama would not be. Hashirama might flinch for a second, but Hashirama's face down the Nine Tails in a Susanoo armor and Madara simultaneously. I don't think Supreme Haki's working on on the first one. If nothing else, he might just go, interesting ability, and then just throw out some killer intent and just kind of counter it. So just from a haki standpoint, it's relatively even. Like, the Supreme King hockey's not going to really do anything. Armament hockey's going to be definitely key in the fight. And observation haki will definitely help him out. So there's that. However, where Goldie really lacks is versatility. At least from what we can find. Now, granted, sometimes the more simple means is the better way to go about it. I look at, say, Bleach, and I look at Kenpachi, who's a very simplistic character, but he's got just such raw power, he just blitzes 90% of his verse. Or he's stronger than like 80% of it, at least. But so Goldie, and that's most likely what Goldie had going on here. He didn't have any Devil Fruit ability, which means he lacked versatility, but what he made up for that was sheer skill and overall overwhelming power. But that doesn't always work, and we're taking him out of his own verse. So Hashirama has, again, technically, honestly, more experience on the battlefield than Goldie does. We actually don't. How old was Goldie when he died? Because Hashirama, I don't think we know Hashirama's age when he died, but he lived on the battlefield for decades before he became the Hokage, and then he would still have been dealing with some levels of conflict during his reign as Hokage. So let's see, how old was Goldie when he died? Because if he was young, that doesn't bode well for me. How old was Goldie when he died? He was 53. Okay, he lived a decent life. But and he died because he surrendered, because he had a terminal illness. But keep in mind, 53. It's not like he's born and fighting this whole time. He had to become a pirate. In fact, let's see here. Let's see here. This history. When did he become a pirate? Because that's very key here. Well, his hail is on the. In addition, I don't need his abilities and backstory. I need his I need his abilities. I need his backstory here. Do we have when he became a pirate? Born, so according to him, he grew up in a difficult circumstance, developing great fear of losing his love. And sometimes later during his youth, he met Siller and became impressed with the ship encounter. Okay, so he's in his youth. That's not specific enough. Rogers eventually became the captain of the. Okay, so in his youth, probably late single digits, early double digits, and then probably around mid-teens, he started to become a pirate. That's most likely what happened, which means. He had been a pirate for best 4 decades. But that doesn't mean he was constantly in combat. He was honestly sailing his ship around a lot of time. Yeah, he fought a lot, but it's not the same thing as basically being born into war, which is what Hashirama was doing. Like, he was slaying people at age 5. So in terms of just straight combat experience, Hashirama's got the edge. Then you add his wood release, which is insanely versatile. Meaning he's going to really have wood clones. He's going to basically be able to block attacks just with alone, try to bind Rogers up. Rogers might be able to break out of it. But every living thing has chakra, which means it's still going to be able to absorb some of his chakra. And then there is the poisonous flower aspect of it. The fact he can create the 1,000 hand, or was it the Buddha? I can't remember what it was. What was the name of it? The technique, the 1,000 hands or something like that. Let's see here. Naruto Deliverance Naruto edition. Oh god. Let's see here. Now, wood release. What was it? Advent. Nope. That's the Advent World Flowering Trees is the one that does the. Stupid. I thought you were gone. I'll have to get some spray out to get because that's gonna be just annoying me all day. What was it? Locking Wood, Wood Dragon, which is another chakra absorption technique. Hotel Hobby, Great Forest Technique, Secret Taking Nativity of the World. Top Transformation Buddha, is that what it's called? Well, anyway, it was a massive wood like Buddha with 1,000 arms that dwarfs even the Nine Tails. That's how big this thing was, and the Nine Tails is big. So like the Nine Tails is no small creature. It is a large creature that dwarfs buildings, and this thing dwarfed the Nine Tails. So let's see. Nature transformation, landscape. What was the name of that technique? Hokage style 60. Was it style 60-year-old technique? To put the note beast to sleep. Oh no, okay. True several thousand hands. That's what it's called. And like I said, it dwarfed the Nine Tails. And then there's just the durability factor or the endurance factor, the stamina factor. Being a Senju means he has massive chakra reserves, second only to Uzumaki, and massive stamina and endurance. Look, I'm not saying D. Rogers is going to just get smacked down. I don't think that at all. But I do think in a long, drawn-out fight, the Hashirama's got the win here. Because he also is a sage who can draw natural sage energy as well. I think it's one of those things where he can carve up wood, no problem at first. Like the more, not the weaker attacks, but the smaller attacks. That, he's not going to struggle at all there. But when it comes to the more hefty wood and just throwing hands, Hashirama, I think, is going to have the win there. So I got to go the first Hokage myself. I would take the first Hokage. Now, for anyone who knows One Piece better than me, and of the big three, it's the one I know the least about. I fully acknowledge that. I fully acknowledge that my knowledge on One Piece is limited compared to Naruto and Bleach. Bleach is the one I know the most about, and Naruto is directly after that. One Piece, I fully admit, I do not have the greatest knowledge of lore on it. Like, I know the base lore. I know a lot of like the devil fruit and stuff like that. What they do. That's why I make a devil fruit series. And then somebody will do the hockey one as well. Not a series of hockey, but like one from Naruto had hockey or something like that series. But like I don't know half of the characters of One Piece. I don't know. I have barely any idea where we are in the story right now. Even in Naruto / Boruto, I know where we are in the story of Boruto right now, thanks to watching YouTubers. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.